Syracuse men's lacrosse is off, but our analysts, they are on. JP Chunga joined by Seth Quam and Michael Barth. Now the Orange, last week they went 1-1 over a stretch against UNC and Hobart. What's the biggest thing that they need to look forward to as they get ready for this ACC tournament coming up next week?
Well, the optimist in me wants to look at that Hobart game, and Syracuse just destroyed them. So I think that'll definitely give them some momentum. They've got a 10-game break here, get everyone healthy, get rested, get those ice baths out of the way. And I think that there's definitely some optimism going into the ACC tournament, but I know that UNC game is a little bit tough.
Yeah, I think the 10-game break will help them out, but overall, that UNC loss looked pretty bad. Didn't play great defense. They really couldn't stop a nosebleed against that UNC offense. So it was a 17-15 loss. Did come back at the end, showed some fight there, but overall, raise some questions about this Syracuse team with this big loss to UNC.
It's hard to compare the two and say, well, they beat Hobart, so the UNC loss is no big deal. So I definitely, that line of logic isn't completely sound. But I think the optimist in me isn't too worried about it.
At minimum, they at least get a little bit healthier heading into that ACC tournament. Had Henry Schoonmaker, who was out in that Hobart game. But looking forward at that ACC clash that they'll have next weekend in beautiful PPL Park in Chester, Pennsylvania. Well, they'll be playing either Notre Dame or UNC. Both two teams that they actually lost to earlier this season. ACC losses for the Cuse as they are 2-2 in conference. And the weigh-in shows that these two fighters have a stiff punch. North Carolina led by Joey Sankey, Notre Dame by Matt Kavanaugh, Joey Bresci, Kevin Corrigan, legendary coaches. Fighting Irish and Tar Heels lead the way defensively in the conference. That's something to look forward to as ND has given up 31 goals, UNC 35. Guys, starting with you, Seth. Who does the Orange want to face if they're going to head into that ACC tournament and they have their chance to pick?
You know, both of these teams are obviously wonderful, talented teams, but I think would rather face Notre Dame, and I'll tell you why, Michael. It's the revenge factor. Yes, Syracuse lost to both of these teams, but that Notre Dame game just felt so much more passionate. It was a double overtime game. They lost by 1. Syracuse really wanted to pull that one out, and they just couldn't do it. That's in contrast to the North Carolina game where the Orange just didn't have a flow of the game, got down big, and then had to come back late. I think they just really want to get the revenge and show the world that they can beat this Notre Dame team.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you, Seth. It was a number 1 versus number 2 battle against Notre Dame, and really they came out strong, played well. Very good game, and just overall, they had a better chance of winning the Notre Dame game. They were in it all game. Did have to come back from a couple goals down, though, but overall, UNC's offense is a lot better than Notre Dame's offense, and I think it's a better matchup for Syracuse to face Notre Dame.
Now, since I can't get you to make a prediction on that game right now, let's just bring out the crystal ball and let's talk about other stuff.
All right.
I'm going to go and start out by asking you guys, some questions around college lacrosse, and you guys will look into that crystal ball, see through the clouds, and come up with something. First one that I got. Who will win the Tewaaraton Award Trophy? Seth, who you got?
JP, I'm looking in the crystal ball right here. And there are hardly any clouds. It's hardly foggy at all.
I know.
It is telling me Lyle Thompson. I mean, it seems like the no-brainer pick on this one. He won it last year along with Miles Thompson. This year he's had another amazing season. Broke the record. He's now the all-time leading points scorer in a career in college lacrosse. Albany's the number 1 scoring defense in the nation. Lyle Thompson, he's the no-brainer choice.
You know what? I'm going to agree with you as well. Back-to-back for Lyle Thompson. He makes everybody around him better. He has 78 points on the year, tops in Division I lacrosse, and he makes the players around him better. Connor Fields, 39 goals. Seth Oaks, 35 goals. And you can just tell that's because of Lyle Thompson, and that's why he's going to take home the Tewaaraton this year.
You know, when defenses play against Albany, they think, we got to stop Lyle Thompson. They're focusing on him the entire game. There are 2 or 3 defenders who always know where he is, and that opens up the door for those other players to come in and steal some goals.
I wouldn't advise them to not care about Lyle Thompson, though. I mean, he's a pretty good player. Looking at the ACC, though, got 5 teams in the top 10 so far right now in the rankings. Michael, at the end of the day, when the regular season's over, will all those 5 teams be in the top 10?
You know what, JP? I don't think they will. It'll be 4 out of 5 for the ACC. Virginia hasn't been as good as the rest of the ACC, 0-4 in conference play. Just overall, they did lose James Pinnell, a big injury for them, one of their leading scorers, but just overall not good enough. They're going to slip out of the top 10, which isn't such a terrible thing. Most teams would consider that a good season, but in the ACC, the top teams in college across there. So overall, I just don't think UVA will be in the top 10 heading into the NCAA tournament.
You know, I'm looking into the crystal ball right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely some fog in this one.
Yeah.
I see some black dots floating around. Looks like there are 4. Oh, there's the 5th one right there. 5. All 5 ACC teams. Virginia's going to slip in there, stay in the top 10 in the nation. And I'll tell you why. They're not going to make it in the ACC tournament, so they don't even need to worry about that. They can focus all their effort on the next 2 matchups. I think they're going to win those games, and if they do, I think their strength of schedule will propel them over some of those lesser teams and keep them in the top 10.
That would be a really impressive feat to have all 5 teams in the top 10. I mean, that's half of it. Looking forward, though, who's going to be at the top? Who's going to be number 1 at the end of the regular season? Seth, to you.
I'm going to take North Carolina. And when I say I'm going to take, I mean the crystal ball is telling me that it is North Carolina.
Fact, not opinion.
And I mean, who am I to argue with the crystal ball? And we talk about Syracuse's trio with Kevin Rice, Randy Stotts, and Dylan Donahue. Well, North Carolina has a trio of their own that is very impressive. Jimmy Bitter, Joey Sankey, and Luke Goldstock. And Goldstock had an amazing game against Syracuse. Just could not be stopped by that Syracuse defense. So I think that trio of North Carolina is going to propel them ahead, and I think they'll take the number 1 spot.
You know what, Seth? I'm going to disagree with you here. My crystal ball saying Notre Dame finishes number 1.
Are there 2 crystal balls here?
There's just one.
It's just we're interpreting the clouds differently.
I guess it happens, but Notre Dame, a very balanced team, very good defensively, only giving up 77 goals on the season. And that Notre Dame offense, Kavanaugh, Perkovic, Ocello, it's very balanced. Anybody can score. And so I think they're going to beat UNC this coming week and take that number 1 spot heading into the NCAA tournament.
It's definitely a pretty cloudy crystal ball right now. Notre Dame, UNC, it could go either way.
If I learned anything in this segment, I learned that no 2 fortune tellers have the same prediction. Correct?
It's true. It's proof of it right here.
What are you going to do? You look at this, you want some more? Well, check us out online at Citrus TV Sports on Twitter, on Instagram, and on YouTube. We'll have you covered when the Cuse is down at the ACC tournament. We'll be down at PPL Park for the coverage from Chester, Pennsylvania, so make sure you catch it all. For Michael Barth and Seth Quam, I'm JP Chunga. Until next time, bye for now.